and welcome to another amazing episode of Uncommon Conversations. I'm your host, Zsa Zsa Hubbard. Listen, you know I bring you amazing native Detroiters each and every week, making a positive impact on today's community. Listen, this young man I've known for a very, very long time, and he's always been a young man of standards and exceptional valor. Listen, help me welcome my new guest, father and native Detroiter, and business owner and podcast host, Christopher Cook. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Zsa Zsa, how are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I know you are busy promoting some amazing things that you have coming up.
Yes, I am. The first thing that I want to promote is my book. My audio book right now is actually an audio book because I really wanted young men to be able to listen to it instead of actually having to read it, because so much audio content going on now, and that's the trend. So I really wanted to make it short, sweet, and have young men listen to it. So it's called Man Lessons, 12 short lessons that every young man should know before he goes into manhood. And you can find it on manlessonsbook.com.
That's amazing. Now, Chris, before we tap into the book, 12 lessons that young men need to know before stepping into manhood, tell us, what was it like growing up as a native Detroiter, as a young man in the city of Detroit? Tell me, what was that like growing up and the family dynamics?
My family dynamics were pretty normal, I would say. I had my mother, my father in my household, and my father was really my example. And in the book, I really talked about him leading with three things: authenticity, compassion, and empathy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, authenticity, credibility, and empathy. So he really did show me what I need to do to be a positive young man. And he was like the father to everybody in my neighborhood. And because a lot of young men nowadays when I was growing up didn't have positive role models in their life. My father became that. So it was really a situation of me just kind of taking up my father's mantle in our ways. I also coach high school football for Oak Park High School. So I really did take up my father's charge in a lot of ways. So. Yeah, but growing up was fantastic, actually, in Detroit. In Detroit, I had a great time. I grew up on the east side of Detroit, East 7 Mile, right down the street from Pershing High School, and I was an East Side Cowboy.
Okay.
A part of the Power organization, I'm still active in. And my son is actually playing for the Southfield Falcons, which is now a part of Detroit PAL. So it's a great thing.
So
it's a great thing.
A native Detroiter and growing up in Detroit and being a part of sports and being an athlete, how important was that with keeping you off the streets and keeping you, busy outside of some of the other interests that you could have been a part of? Why was that so important for you to be a part of sports and now being a coach and giving back in that capacity?
Really, I had to look back at some of my coaches that coached me during the years, and I figured out that they were all married men. They all had families, and they all, were just and they were all taking care of their families, and they were all, upstanding men in the community. So what I realized was that it was like it was like I was learning from them without them actually teaching me.
Yeah.
And they really showed me how like what you're supposed to do as a man. And during that time, I really learned a lot about myself and learned a lot about what a man really is and how he's supposed to, lead his family. So I really did learn a lot about, just how to be a man,
yeah.
In those areas.
Now, Chris, speaking of how to be a man, you are now an amazing father to 3 amazing children. Tell me, what was the transition like from you being, you know, just a bachelor and going out here living your life, and now you are now leading 3 children up under your tutelage? What was that like, having that different responsibility?
Really, I still have to pinch myself sometimes, and be like, I'm somebody's dad. Like, like I'm a father to a 14-year-old Nevaeh. I'm a father to a 8-year-old Cameron, and I'm a father to a 5-year-old Olivia, and they're my world, and I really do love them, and they, shout out to them.
Shout out to
Shout out
them.
to them. Shouts out to them. But really, it's a humbling experience because I get to do what my dad did, and I get to be a great father. I get to be a father that's active. I get to be a father that is attentive and involved in their lives. Because my daughter is really looking to get into Cass Technical High School right now, and we're going through the application process and everything. So hopefully she gets in.
Okay, well, I see what I can do. I see what I can do for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just like to shout everything out, but it's a great experience, and I'm loving every minute of it, and I'm loving being a father and being trying to be a outstanding person in the community, and now I have a legacy with the book. I have a legacy, and I gave that to my son. The first instance in the book is to him. He's because I really did want to leave him a legacy that if I left the earth before I was supposed to, that he would have my words to be able to guide him through manhood. So
yeah. And speaking of guiding through manhood, there are so many men in our community that come right here from the city of Detroit that are raised in single parent households. What encouraging words would you give to young men that are being raised by their moms, as well as what encouraging words would you give to parents raising a young Black son?
well, the first lesson in the book is life is a team sport. No one gets anywhere without anybody else. Mm-hmm. And the one thing you have to learn, you have to be able to seek out is mentors and people that know more than you, and people that can guide you to where you're supposed to go. And I like to say that men are pack animals. We do what the lead wolf does, positive or negative, and then we need just more positive lead wolves to show young men that it's possible to be positive, and it's actually good to be, it's actually to show them some results that it makes sense for them to be positive, and just giving them options, because I feel like a lot of times young men don't have options, and honestly, that's what Man Camp is going to be all about as well. What's going to be the nonprofit I'm working on as of now is it's called Man Camp, which is going to be a mentoring and career exploration program that we're going to start in the coming months, because I just put in my paperwork for the nonprofit, certification. So working on that, but I really wanted to, get the book out because it definitely is something that I really wanted to do for young men, to be able to give them something, because young men need guidance a lot of times. Like we need the opportunity to know what to do and have a rubric, because there really is no physical event that tells you you're a man.
Yeah.
There's no physical event, so you just kind of just walk into manhood, and you have no really recourse of what's really going on. You're not a man when you become a father. You're not a man when because sometimes men think that being fathering children, it is makes you a man, but it really isn't. So it's a lot of things that men have to learn. You have to go through. So.
Now, what encouraging words would you give to mothers and single fathers who are raising young men? Because, me, I'm a mom, and, my son is 17 years old, and I've had challenges, with mentorship and him going through, the different changes physically, emotionally, mentally. What encouraging words would you give to parents that are raising these young men?
The encouraging words would be, uh, you have to find examples. You have to give young men the opportunity to see that it's possible.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because you know the one thing that I did when I was younger was that when I was in my 20s was that I tutored kids. I tutored 3 kids on the east side of Detroit. And the crazy part about it is like I started to really, really like invest in them, and they saw my growth throughout my 20s. They saw my growth of me going to BizMU, which was a entrepreneurial school started by Dan Gilbert to finance black businesses in the city of Detroit. And then after that, I went to my master's program, and they were at my graduation. So they saw me all the way up through, and they've all become, positive young men through that experience of knowing me. So so really it's about finding examples and making sure that those examples, you have to be the loudest voice in your child's ear a lot of times.
Yeah.
But at some point, your kid is gonna you're gonna get drowned out. You're gonna get drowned out. You're not gonna be the
voice of reason.
The voice of reason, right? The voice of reason all the time. So the point of the matter is like you have to also have people that echo what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
That echo what you're trying. They echo what you would tell your child in a lot of ways. So like I said, just finding examples, because men we have to see it before we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell people all the time, men are like waffles and women are like spaghetti. We can mix it all up together, and men, they like stuff like compartmentalized. But speaking of growth and education and having your MBA, you are also a mentor and a coach and a football coach, like you stated earlier. And you are the host of the Man Camp podcast. Now tell me, what was the change? Because that's a drastic change, being having your degree and having your degree in entrepreneurship and business, and then coaching, and now you're a podcast host and a new author. What made you step into that new realm?
Well, actually, it all works together in my eyes, because it's all business, and because the crazy part about it is like I look at coaching as the thing that really spurred me to write this book, because I was speaking to young men, every day, during this epidemic, it's called this pandemic.
Yeah.
And mentoring them and getting to know them, and the crazy part about it is like we had a young man that had the opportunity to go to college on a scholarship, and I asked him, what are you going to major in? And he didn't know. He was like, I don't know. And I was like, well, you're going to get a free education. You need to find that out and make sure you're using them as much as they're using you for your football talents. So the one thing that spurred that on was the fact of me saying like, okay, well, young men need to know what they like. Young men need to know that there's a possibility to do whatever it is they want to do, and that because I feel like we pigeonhole ourselves in careers. We pigeonhole ourselves in what in the Black community we do with things like being a doctor, lawyer, engineer. We don't know those things. But there's so many other careers where people are going to work, with their talents and their dreams and their goals, and that aren't traditional things, because I mean, I used to watch a show called Face Off all the time, and it was a makeup show, and I used to always wonder like, why are the Black people always go off the show in the first 2 weeks? But I used to wonder like, and I thought about it. I'm like, because we're not exposed to it. We don't know if that's a possibility for us to do. And the show was a reality show, a reality contest show about how like makeup artists, but not makeup artists as in, doing traditional makeup for women, but making monsters, making movie monsters, doing all of the makeup for all these
Movies
monsters.
and cinemas and all those different things.
There you go. Yep. And we're just not, and a lot of times kids have this creativity, but we don't expose it to them.
Right.
We don't.
Other industries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So so think about it. Like and there's a big hole in the tech world right now for young men, and as well as people of color. Period.
Yeah.
And it's really a form of access, because a lot of our kids can do a lot of things with the computers. I mean, I give my 5-year-old a phone and she knows how to work it.
Yes.
So fast. But we need to be able to capitalize on that and become entrepreneurs and use our creativity to create new ways, because we are the wave in a lot of ways. All TikTok dances that we create, all of the Twitter things that we create, everything. These are all industries that we can be involved in. So it's a great opportunity for us to make sure that we're getting a piece of the pie. So that's what Man Camp is going to be about.
Absolutely. And speaking of Man Camp, your love for the community is unfathomed. And I definitely want to thank you so much for having the desire to want to pour back into young men. Because, statistically, our young men from ages 13 up into 25 will probably see a penitentiary before they'll see a graduation. And it's as unfortunate as it is, we also know that there's a system set up against our African American men. Now, if you could tell me, what was that desire, and why is that desire so important for you to go back and help young men?
Because really, honestly, it's my purpose. It's what I'm supposed to be doing, and it took a lot of years for me to really walk into it and become this man. And the one thing that I always say is that you have to love the journey. You have to love the journey. You have to love the struggle and the pain that comes with it, because on the other side will be glory. And the one thing that I put in my book was that it's actually a man lesson. It says the cave you fear to enter holds the prize you want. Mm-hmm. So whatever cave that is, for me it was actually stepping out and conceptualizing, and as well as doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So it really you can have fear, because fear is only false expectations appearing real. So you have to understand that you got to get over fear, and you have to get over anything that's going to hold you back, and go after your goals and your dreams. So it's always been in my heart, because I've always wanted to get back to community, which I've done with coaching, because I saw coaching has been a thing that has really saved my life in a lot of ways. Yeah. Being able to give me purpose when I didn't see any for myself, but at the same time, it also gave me an opportunity to give back and make sure that I'm giving back to the next generation, because I really do feel like, you have to pay it forward a lot of times as a man, because what if God forbid, I pass away, and I have a son that needs guidance. And I hope that someone would, someone that I've mentored and someone that I, into would give to him in the same way I gave to them. So it's paying it forward in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. And, speaking of paying it forward, this country just witnessed a newly elected African American woman to the position of vice presidency. And I've been telling people as they come on my show, as guests on the show, that this is the year of the woman. And you've written a book, Man Lessons, 12 steps, 12 lessons that every young man should know walking into manhood. Being that it's the year of the woman, what is one of the lessons, or is there a lesson in the book as to how young men should deal with women in leadership?
Well, one of the lessons actually is if you're not leading, you're following,
Mm,
and it breaks down the fact of, that men want to lead because we feel like a lot of times we're supposed to, but it's not because of who you are genetically. It's about, you showing your capability that you can lead, and that's usually the word that women don't like to hear, is the word submit. But at the same time, it's like you have to prove yourself worthy of being a leader to a woman. So a lot of that is that we have to prove that we can do it, and that we're competent, and at the same time we're leading with authenticity, credibility, and empathy. So, I like to use that acronym, to make sure that men are understanding that the standards that we have. Um, and I have another lesson there about communicating with your loved ones.
yeah.
And another one is, and basically it's an old Rumi poetry. It's an old Rumi thought process. Rumi was a poet, Indian poet back in the day, really back in the day. But he said that all of your communication should pass through three gates. Is it truthful? Is it kind? And is it truthful? Is it kind? Is it I can't remember the name right now.
Okay.
Truthful, kind, and is it? I can't remember the last one. I'm sorry. I drew a blank.
No problem. And one of the biggest things, and I know that this book is gonna skyrocket, and you guys make sure y'all get out here and go support his book. But communication is one of the challenges when it comes to certain dialogue that we need men to have. How important is it, and why is it so important for young men and men of all ages to get this book?
I feel like as men we always need a guide somehow. We need a guide. And being a father, you have to be able to take information from other people, and you have to be able to take information from other people and be able to use it in the betterment of your own situation. So I have friends that have raised successful sons, and I'm like, okay, well, tell me the secret, brother, because I'm trying to raise a son too. But I'm trying. This book is really about giving men lessons and giving them understanding that we should lead in a way that allows for us and our women and our children to respect us.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I really do believe that's the purpose behind this book in a lot of ways. So it's a call to manhood. It's a call to everything that we need to do right now for us to be able to be, in a lot of ways, Man Camp is a way to restore the Black family in a lot of ways, because I feel like, young men don't have enough options. And when you don't have enough options, you tend to, as a man, to go where there's less pressure. And we all know that, when things happen and someone gets, impregnated or whatever, when women become a little bit, everything, all the fun stops. So a lot of that becomes a situation where pressure becomes a situation where young men don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of not knowing what to do and having those challenges where they have to answer that call, many of us had to answer that call during the pandemic as we're coming to the exit of this pandemic, this epidemic. There were a lot of people who have been affected. Tell me, Chris, how were you affected by the pandemic, personally as well as professionally?
Well, actually, it was the pandemic really did allow me to understand what's most important. It gave me the opportunity to be with my children 24/7, 365, which is a challenge, but at the same time, I really did enjoy the time we had together, being quarantined together and everything like that. But as professionally, it really did, put some things on hold for me. But but God, so a lot of things have come into fruition this year that I'm happy about. Happy about the book. I'm happy about the nonprofit being started, and as well as me having a day job of working at the Disability Network. So
Beautiful, beautiful. And speaking of working with the community and doing all that you can, every time I have a guest on the show, I like to play a little game. Are you down to play?
I'm down. I'm down.
Okay. So the name of this game is called the Survival Kit. Okay. I'm gonna name you 3 items. You use one, you lose one, and you give one away. Okay. First round: shaving cream, water hose, newspaper. Shaving cream, water hose, newspaper. You use one, you lose one, and you give one away.
Okay, I will use the water hose.
Okay.
I will, because I like my beard, so I like my beard, so I'm not gonna use shaving cream, so I'm gonna throw that away.
Okay.
And what's the other one? I didn't hear.
Give away the newspaper.
Yeah, I get it because I don't it's I mean.
Okay.
I mean,
second round.
Newspapers are dead anyway. So
Right.
Everybody gets their information from online anyway. So.
Right. Okay. Second round. Crazy glue, a hairbrush, chapstick. Crazy glue, a hairbrush, chapstick. Use one, lose one, give one away.
I will use the hairbrush because I'm really, I like to keep myself up,
Okay.
I'm gonna lose the crazy glue.
Okay.
And what was the last one?
Chapstick.
I'm gonna use it. I gotta get chapstick. You can't go around with chapped lips, but I guess so. I don't know. I'll lick them. So.
Okay. Last round. A tricycle, a flip phone, a cologne bottle. A tricycle, a flip phone, a cologne bottle. You get to use one, lose one, and give one away.
Okay, I'll definitely keep the cologne bottle. Just making sure it's not a voyage because I like to smell that. What was the other two? I'm sorry.
The other two were tricycle and flip phone.
Oh, I'm gonna give away the flip phone.
Okay, you gonna keep the tricycle? You gonna use that?
Lose tricycle.
Okay. Now, Chris, you have your new book coming out, 12 Lessons Every Young Man Needs to Know Before Manhood. How can they get the book? Where can they get it from? And what are some of the events and projects that you have coming up we need to look out for?
Okay. Well, it's an audio book, and you can get it. It's for automatic download right now at manlessonsbook.com. So you can get that from there, from that website, manlessonsbook.com. So you can get it. You can download it right onto your phone, right any device you're using. So and then any upcoming events. You just look out for Man Camp. Look out for Man Camp because Man Camp is coming, most definitely. That's a hashtag I've been doing. So Man Camp is coming. So it's coming to a school near you and a industry church, wherever near you. So
that's beautiful. Now, Chris, how can people reach you if they want to become sponsors, if they want to volunteer, if they want to be a guest on your podcast? How could they reach you?
Okay, they can reach me at my email, christophercook712@gmail.com. They can reach me on Facebook under my name, Christopher Cook. And also we have a public group right now with at Facebook. It's called the Man Camp Podcast, so where I'm just encouraging men and putting down things that encourage men in every facet. Because actually we just did we're on the second episode of our Black Father series because we want to change the narrative of how Black fathers are viewed in the media. So we really wanted to highlight married fathers, single fathers, and stepfathers as well. So we wanted to make sure that we're giving light to the men that are doing a great job with being fathers. So,
and that is definitely worth highlighting. Now, Chris, when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be when people think about Christopher Cook and how he impacted the lives and the people in his community? What do you want people to say about you?
Well, I've always thought about, because my father passed away in 2007. It was so many people that came up to me and told me how he impacted their lives, and that's what I want. I want, and I actually heard a voice at my father's funeral that really let me know that like this is what you're supposed to be, and I want my legacy to be, that I raised a great son, my son Cameron, to be a strong man and be a leader in the community, and I raised great daughters as well. I want to be known in the community as leader and as a person that gave of himself for my people. So
absolutely, that is beautiful, Chris. I definitely want to thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Listen, make sure that you guys go out here and get his book, 12 Lessons That Every Young Man Should Know Before Entering Manhood. Listen, it's an audio book, and you can just pop it right in, download it, and listen as you go. Make sure that you get it for every young man out here in the community. Listen, Chris, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. If you enjoyed today's show, just know that was the power of a conversation. I want to hear from you. Listen, make sure that you check us out on the web at www.zsaccover.com. Listen, or you can slide in my DMs at UCCTV313 on all social media platforms. Listen, if that's not good enough for you, I would love for you to write in to me at P.O. Box 27866, Detroit, Michigan 48227. And I would love to hear from you. Listen, until next week, that was the power of a conversation. Peace.